The best camera is the one you always have with you, right? I have two of the best smartphones for video recording here, the brand new Samsung S26 Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro. Are these also the best cameras for vlogging?
To find out, today we'll compare these two phone cameras with two very popular alternatives for vlogging, the Insta360 GO Ultra and the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. The GO Ultra stands out for its extremely compact design, while the Osmo Pocket 3 features a built-in gimbal. Let's see how the two phone cameras stack up in a direct comparison. At the end, I'll tell you how much the devices cost, what special offers are available and which camera I'll recommend to you. You'll see that each of these cameras has its own particular strengths and weaknesses. But let's start with the Samsung S26 Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro and see how the footage from two of the best smartphone cameras looks in a direct comparison, and what the real challenges are if you want to vlog with a smartphone. Because while the cameras on the S26 Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro would be fantastic for vlogging, both naturally have the same problem. The really good cameras are on the back. In particular, the wide main camera on both phones is excellent and can compete with just about any small consumer camera on the market, even in low light. But the wide main camera is only suitable for vlogging to a very limited extent, mainly for two reasons. At 24mm, the field of view isn't wide enough for vlogging. For these shots here, I used both devices on a longer selfie stick. I mean, you can do that, but that also means you have to bring the stick and the mount with you. And that means you lose the big advantage of the smartphone as a recording device. So even here, you can't just start vlogging without planning, simply because you always have the device with you. And the second problem is even more relevant. When you film with the rear camera, you can't see yourself and therefore can't judge whether the framing is correct. For these shots, I had to make a few attempts until the framing was actually correct and my head wasn't cut off. Of course, there are a few accessories to solve this problem. There's a screen you can attach to the back and connect via Bluetooth. Or you can use a gimbal like the Flow 2 Pro, which features a built-in selfie stick and shows you the main camera's framing in the mirror or automatically keeps you in the frame using tracking. Or you can use the ultra-wide camera, though it essentially has a similar problem. You should definitely use a stick with the ultra-wide camera as well, because shooting too close with it causes severe distortion. Most people will just take the easy route and use the selfie camera for vlogging. You can see yourself clearly on the excellent screens of both smartphones, and the field of view is just wide enough, at least if your goal isn't to show much of the surroundings. For a slightly wider field of view, you should also use a selfie stick or a gimbal, which I would do anyway, since it's simply more comfortable to hold the smartphone while filming. But the front camera can't come close to matching the quality of the rear cameras. This applies to both smartphones, the S26 Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. And in this regard, the iPhone has two clear advantages over the S26 Ultra. Not only does it have the better selfie camera, but Apple's new center stage camera has a very special feature. You can switch from portrait mode to landscape mode and back without rotating the device sideways. That means you can hold the device upright, which is simply more comfortable while filming in landscape mode. I consider this a major advantage, especially if you want to film handheld while vlogging and also capture footage in landscape mode. And as I mentioned, the iPhone selfie camera generally takes slightly better shots. So if you frequently want to film yourself with the selfie camera, the iPhone 17 and 17 Pro and Pro Max have the edge. Let's bring the Insta360 GO Ultra into the mix. The GO Ultra is clearly different from the two smartphone cameras, and it has a few key advantages. The most important advantage of the GO Ultra in this comparison is, of course, its size. The Insta360 GO Ultra is an extremely small and lightweight camera that's still capable of capturing extremely high quality footage in 4K at up to 60 frames per second. At 1/1.28 inches, it even features a sensor that's the same size as the sensors of the main cameras on the iPhone 17 Pro and the Samsung S26 Ultra, meaning a sensor that's significantly larger than the sensors of the two selfie cameras. And I think you can really tell the difference. Especially in low light, the GO Ultra is clearly superior to the selfie cameras of both smartphones and captures significantly better footage. You shouldn't underestimate this, because indoor shots should also be considered low light shots. And the GO Ultra has a few other special features. If you want to switch from landscape mode to portrait mode, you simply need to rotate the camera sideways. And then you can also take high resolution 4K shots in portrait mode with the same field of view. And as you can see, the GO Ultra's field of view is extremely wide, significantly wider than the field of view of the selfie cameras on both smartphones, and even wider than the field of view of the ultra-wide cameras on the S26 Ultra and the iPhone 17 Pro. This is of course both a strength and a weakness. The Go Ultra does have a 2x lossless zoom, similar to the rear cameras on both phones. But you have to like the very wide field of view. It's excellent for showing as much of the surroundings as possible. So if, like here, you want to show the landscape and not just a close-up of yourself. For close-ups, however, it's less suitable. While there is a dedicated lens that allows you to focus closer and take close-up shots, this naturally results in significant distortion, making it better suited for special shots and B-roll footage. But the Go Ultra isn't just an interesting alternative for vlogging, it's also a full-fledged and extremely rugged action camera that's waterproof up to 10 meters without an additional housing. If you only use the Go Ultra small body for filming, you'll naturally lack a display to check the framing. Even though achieving proper framing isn't too difficult, thanks to the extremely wide field of view. But for more control, you have the Action Pod. You can use the Action Pod separately as a remote with a screen, or place the Go Ultra in the Action Pod and film yourself using the flip-up display. In this form, the camera is a perfect option for vlogging. With the magnetic back, you can also quickly attach it anywhere and capture some unusual shots. As you can see, I love the Go Ultra. As I've emphasized several times, it's my current favorite camera. And with the Mic Air, there is also a high quality external microphone for the Go Ultra. Unlike DJI's microphones, it doesn't require a receiver on the Go Ultra to achieve good audio quality. But, and this needs to be said, the Go Ultra only makes sense if you like the ultra-wide angle and want to show a lot of the surroundings when vlogging. If that's not the case and you'd rather take close-ups, you should consider the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and this is our fourth camera in this comparison. The Pocket 3 is also a fantastic camera with many advantages and strengths. It's actually considered a very good choice for vlogging. The Osmo Pocket 3 is also one of my favorite cameras, and what I particularly like about it is that soft, cinematic look. The combination of a relatively wide angle and a slight background blur. Add to that the Pocket 3's gimbal, which enables a range of additional features. You can mount the Pocket 3 on a tripod and track yourself, meaning the camera will follow you. And I think the Pocket 3 is especially great for situations like that, where you mount it somewhere and then film yourself, or as a classic filmmaking tool, where you're behind the camera yourself. For typical vlogging where you're moving around, however, I think the Pocket 3 has a few weaknesses. To ensure a fair comparison, I used the Pocket 3 on the same selfie stick as the other cameras for these shots. But while it's relatively practical to use a smartphone on a selfie stick, and the Go Ultra of course, the Pocket 3 isn't really suited for that. As you can see here, it's rather impractical to use the Pocket 3 on a stick. It's not designed for that. It's meant for handheld filming. And although the field of view is slightly wider than that of the two selfie cameras on the iPhone 17 Pro and the S26 Ultra, the field of view is a bit narrow for handheld shots. You have to like that. It doesn't look bad though. As I said, the background becomes slightly blurred, which looks very nice, but you can't show much of the surroundings. That means the Go Ultra is ideal for a very wide field of view when vlogging, while the Pocket 3 is better for a narrow field of view when vlogging. And there is another limitation. While you can simply rotate the Go Ultra to the side for shooting in portrait mode, the Pocket 3's gimbal can't rotate the camera to the side into portrait mode. For the portrait mode, the camera simply applies a vertical crop to the shot, which results in an even more reduced field of view, and the resolution is limited to 3K. Sure, you can hold the camera sideways, but that's not really what it's designed for. Of course, there's also the ultra-wide lens for the Pocket 3, but you should be aware that this can lead to distortion if you hold the camera with the ultra-wide lens too close. On the other hand, the Pocket 3 has three other key advantages. The gimbal not only enables very cinematic camera movements, but also allows for smooth and well-stabilized footage in low light, since the Pocket 3 doesn't have to rely on electronic stabilization in these situations. In addition, with a 1-inch sensor, the Pocket 3 has by far the largest sensor of all the cameras in this comparison. This means that the Pocket 3 produces the best footage, especially in low light. This also applies indoors and under artificial lighting. If you frequently film in these situations, the Pocket 3 is a good choice. And while the Insta360 Mic Air is the optimal microphone for the Go Ultra, the Pocket 3 is of course compatible with the latest DJI microphones. If you own a Mic 3, Mic 2 or Mic Mini, you can connect the transmitter to the Pocket 3 and get good audio quality even without a receiver. On smartphones and the Go Ultra, you should use the DJI microphones with a receiver. And here's another important tip. If you're using the Pocket 3 while vlogging and walking or running, you should disable tracking. With this type of movement, it causes additional jerkiness in the footage.
A few more words about audio recording. When vlogging or recording your voice, I would always recommend an external microphone. This is simply because the distance to the microphone should be as short as possible. But of course, All devices have relatively good internal microphones. And even though it might not look that way due to the different fields of view, I'm using them for this comparison recording on the same selfie stick and at the same distance. On the Pocket 3, I set directional audio to front, and on the Go Ultra, I activated the voice enhancement mode.
Aside from the differences we've seen today, all the cameras in this comparison naturally have a variety of other differences and special features. There are 10-bit log profiles or ProRes, gesture or voice control, beauty filters, and so on. But I think we've seen the most important differences you need to know for vlogging today. So how much do these devices cost and which one is the best choice for you? The two smartphones start at $1,100 for the iPhone 17 Pro and around $1,500 for the Pro Max or the S26 Ultra. But of course, you're not just getting a camera for vlogging, you're getting a state-of-the-art, extremely powerful smartphone. The Insta360 GO Ultra normally costs $450, but it's currently on sale for the spring sale and is now only $380. And if you use the link in the description, you'll get a free mic Air as an exclusive gift. It would be great if you could take advantage of this special offer. The DJI Pocket 3 costs about $500 on Amazon in the US. However, it's also on sale and currently available for $439. Here in Europe, it is even cheaper. You'll find a link for that in the description as well. There have been rumors about the Pocket 4 for a while now. However, I can't say when it will be released. So what would I recommend? Personally, I think that both the Pocket 3 and the Go Ultra offer clear added value compared to the selfie camera on the iPhone or the S26 Ultra. Both are currently available at quite affordable prices. This also applies to the Pocket 3 if you don't live in the US. And the choice between these two cameras is simple for me. If you like the ultra-wide look and want to capture a lot of the surroundings, go with the Go Ultra. You'll also get an excellent action camera that's very durable. If on the other hand you prefer a closer cinematic look, go for the Pocket 3. You won't be disappointed. You can also find a detailed comparison between the Pocket 3 and the Go Ultra on my channel. I'll include a link to that video in the description. If you're satisfied with the image quality of the selfie cameras on the iPhone or the S26 Ultra, then both are, of course, excellent devices that offer other options thanks to the high-quality rear cameras. There's also a detailed comparison between the cameras on the iPhone 17 Pro and the S26 Ultra on my channel. Check it out if you're interested. What do you think is the best vlogging camera? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Give me a like as feedback if you found this video interesting. There will be more tests and tutorials on all 4 cameras, so stay tuned and see you next time.